China's tiny Jewish community in fear as Beijing erases its history. In China, Chinese leader Xi Jinping has waged a brutal campaign against foreign influence and unapproved religion since 2015, part of a push to Sinicise faith, which included detaining over 1 million Muslims in the Xinjiang region. China's China's suppression has hit the nation's tiny congregation of Jews whose ancestors settled over a millennium ago along the Yellow River in Kaifeng. The crackdown has now spread to the roughly 1,000 people in Kaifeng who claim Jewish heritage, of which only about 100 are practicing Jews. The community has survived without a rabbi for over 150 years. Quote, it's government policy. China doesn't want to recognize us as Jews, one anonymous man disclosed to the Telegraph. Their goal is to make sure the next generation doesn't have any Jewish identity, end quote. The government has paved over synagogue ruins, installed cameras at historic Jewish landmarks, and Hebrew schools established by foreign nationals have been forced to close.
Okay, putting morality aside, this doesn't even make sense strategically for China. How big is the Jewish community in China for them to invite? I mean, when you go after the Christian churches, you get, I don't know, the churches and some human rights group after you, right? When you go after Muslims, you don't get that much backlash from Muslims themselves, except a few countries like Turkey, right? And not that much, unfortunately. Like per capita, we have been calling out China more than on per capita basis, way more than a lot of Islamic channels out there, right?
Yes.
But when you go after the Jewish community, isn't that like an open invitation for the entire planet to go after you? I mean, isn't this like one of the greatest taboos that there is? Like, is like this is, but Katie is like, what happened to Never Again? I don't know. I would be shocked if this doesn't get a bigger reaction, given the. I mean, I hope now, because I think the Jewish community is better than the Muslim community when it comes to actually giving the appropriate reaction to something like this. You know what I mean? Like to calling it out, and I hope that this will get the backlash that it deserves. And I don't understand why would China's government do that, because when it comes, China is trying to create a homogenous society where everybody is not following, Christianity, Islam. Everybody is just worshiping the CCP, and even if they have Islam, it has to be like their version, their approved version, or their Christian approved version that is like in line with the Communist Party and all. But I can see, like, if you're like a evil, like a dictator that is trying to do that, I can see how you see the Christian community or the Muslim community as a threat, because there's just so many of them. But I don't understand the cost-benefit analysis here. The Jewish community is so tiny in China that they're never going to be a threat, and they are probably going to invite the biggest international backlash. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm not wrong. I hope that it is going to get the backlash. I wish that they all got bigger backlash, but the Jewish community backlash is more likely, given the history of what happened to Jewish community internationally. Internationally, this has a higher chance of uniting the people to call out China's human rights violation, right? So what's the cost-benefit analysis here for the Chinese government? Go on, Susanna.
So for background, because I see people like asking about China's policy of religions, or they're saying like it's only Buddhist. This is not actually true. So there are 5 faiths that the Communist Party recognizes and regulates. Okay, I'm holding up 4 fingers. It should be 5. 5 fingers. Quote, even for the 5 faiths that the party does recognize and regulate, which is Buddhism, Taoism, Islam, Protestantism, and Catholicism, pressures abound. For example, Buddhist temples, for instance, are allowed to display portraits of Mr. Xi, as in Xi Jinping. You're pulling up the wrong news.
Okay, I'll look into it. Don't worry. You continue.
But they're not allowed to show photos of the exiled spiritual leader, the Dalai Lama, although not all Buddhists follow the Dalai Lama. So here's where some of the strategy or maybe political consideration is coming in. Chinese authorities are also concerned about undue foreign influence if the Kaifeng Jewish community is allowed to build links with Jews abroad. Quote, in terms of numbers, it's so insignificant, but in terms of potential attention, it's much, much bigger, said Noam Urbach, an Israeli academic who has studied the Kaifeng Jews. Their existence can, quote, raise a lot of attention among the international Jewish community, end quote.
Wow, I had the same take as the academic without even reading that comment. Look at this, guys. This is why you come to Atheist Republic. I didn't do the years of education of that academic, and I had the same exact reaction right from the beginning. First time, I don't even need to go to I have the same level of nuance. Yeah, go ahead.
But you're right. This speaks to how far the suppression is getting, that they're going after a community of, there's only 1,000 people who have ethnic heritage, right? This community reached its peak in the 1500s with only 5,000 people. Okay, that's as large as it ever got. Now there are only 1,000 who can claim ethnic heritage, only roughly 100 who actively practice. And in Kaifeng, stones engraved as far back as 1489 with the community's beliefs and ancestries that used to mark a 12th century synagogue have disappeared from public exhibit. An ancient well, believed to be the synagogue's last ruins, has likewise vanished under a cloak of cement. The authorities have also torn down the city's few Hebrew signs that once marked the teaching Torah lane. In that same lane, a spot where a few dozen Jews, some of whom were government officials, used to meet up for services, is now plastered with propaganda about China's, quote, management of religious affairs. They include reminders that Judaism is prohibited. A security camera is directed at the entrance. The crackdown is so intense that Kaifeng residents are afraid to dine together in public. Quote, it's a small place, one Jewish man said. Quote, restaurant managers know that we are the Jews and they will report us to the authorities, end quote. Across the city, the remaining trace of Jewish heritage appears to be 2 tombstones with the Star of David and epitaphs in Chinese and Hebrew. But even this, they fear, will soon be gone.
Okay.
And then it details their underground networks and Shabbat services.
I mean, I hope this actually gets the backlash that it deserves, right? But maybe now we can unite the goddamn planet. It's like 1 million Muslims being in concentration camps for being the crime of being Muslim is not enough, I think, to get the world united. But how many Jews again, you said?
Only roughly 100 practicing Jews in a country.
I think that would be
in a country of over 1 billion.
Right.
They're going after roughly 100 people.
I think this 100 people are going to be will get more backlash than 1 million Muslim. Okay,
possibly 2 million.
2 million. Oof. Let's say 1 million. Okay, I think that we have a higher chance of this 100 people getting the backlash that it finally deserves, more than 1 million Muslims in concentration camps. Okay, which is a shame, but we have to work with what we can get. If we could use this news as a way to go against the fascism of China, we have to do it. Okay, we have to do it. Which again, I don't understand this, because Chinese government is evil for sure,
straight up,
but they're not dumb.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I don't understand here. What was can we steelman them, not from a moral perspective but from a strategic perspective? Like, there is no way that they saw this 100 people as a threat, and yet they went after them, knowing that the backlash to this could be much more significant than the million Muslim that they put in concentration camps. So why?
It's part of this broader crackdown that's been happening on unofficial religion since 2015.
This
So
too dumb. It must be
some
something else.
some Jewish academics are arguing that this is not specifically anti-Semitic.
Yeah, they're just anti-religion. But maybe, okay, if I really, really, really want to like steelman the strategy at play here, okay, maybe it's just signaling that, look, we're doing even this. That's how bold we are.
Oh wow!
Like you like, I don't know. Maybe it's a signal of not holding back at all. Like it's a show of strength that even this that is your sacred cow, Western countries, we're not gonna hold back on even this. So you guys thought you could intimidate us on these other issues, and we're gonna stop doing that. We're gonna double down even on the things that you didn't think. Yeah, go on.
Trails is saying it should be interesting to see whether Israel launches a rescue operation of these Chinese Jews like they did for the Ethiopian Jews. Well, speaking of, Kaifeng Jews hope that Israel will support them, though they aren't considered Jews under Israeli law after generations of intermarriage. Judaism has not been passed down consistently enough through the maternal line. Mr. Leitner, who is an expert who is referenced in this article, also doubts that Israel wants to jeopardize Sino-Israeli relations for, quote, the sake of a couple thousand people. Indeed, Israel has deepened trade ties with China over recent years. The Israeli embassy did not respond to multiple requests for comment.
This is horrible. But yeah, the difference is Ethiopia is Ethiopia and China is China. The potentially second, world power in a couple of decades is going to become dominating the East. Like, I mean, do you really think Israel will want Israel right now? And Israel that is not very sure about its support from United States as much as it used to be. Do you think they're going to risk their relationship with China right now? I mean, guys, Israel, a country that keeps saying never forget and never forget and never forget, and spends millions and millions of dollars on Holocaust memorials I said the word shit. All across the planet, and rightfully so, because we shouldn't forget. I want those memorials. But what's the point of those memorials if you keep saying never forget, but you keep forgetting? Because guess what, guys? Israel as a country right now hasn't even recognized the Armenian genocide. Okay? They haven't recognized the Armenian genocide because they're worried about the relationship with Turkey. Turkey, a country that is outright anti-Israel, right, still has trade agreements with Israel and stuff. So Israel wouldn't even call out the Armenian genocide because they value their relationship with Turkey. So if they're not going to sacrifice their relationship with Turkey, what makes you think they want to sacrifice their relationship with China?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, think about the hypocrisy. The country that should be leading the way when it comes to human rights, when it comes to anything that gets close to what happened during the World War II, even if it's like miles away, even if it just smells and tastes like it just a tiny bit, Israel should be leading the way. That's the whole point of these memorials. Again, I think these memorials are justified, but what's the goddamn point if you're not going to use them to promote human rights, to be the leading country when it comes to the promotion of human rights across the planet? Bunch of hypocrites.
Lorraine is saying, leave China alone. You don't know enough.
Oh my God, Lorraine has the worst takes. Why? Wasn't this the same person that told us to leave people's... Wait, Lorraine just told us to let women let little girls wear hijab in schools, and we should leave them alone, and we shouldn't promote we said that hijab should be banned in public schools for children, and she said leave them alone, let them wear what they want, and now she's defending China. China? Do
Yeah,
you know,
China, Lorraine, they definitely don't let the religious be religious in China. Did you not listen to what we were just saying? Because that's kind of
China?
like the opposite of what China is known
So
to
she's
do.
like,
to,
she thinks
say.
we're like weirder fascists who think like people should be able to wear the hijab, but not in a public school, not be forced on children. She thinks that's too fascistic. But then she's defending a government that is putting Muslims in concentration camps in the millions and forcing them to drink alcohol and eat pork just to show that they're not fully Muslim. Like, she's defending that. And she's calling us fascist. Oh my God. This is
They're
kind of
obviously American. Focus on your own backyard. Lorraine. Lorraine. He's not American. Do you not hear the accent? Like,
I'm not in United States. And also I'm not American. But Lorraine is amazing. She has the worst takes today. Worst takes.
it's kind of fun to
It's kind of
see how bad it's gonna get.
yeah. Oh yeah, and they also have sterilization programs. Okay, yeah. So she's supporting China and their sterilization programs and Muslims, and apparently we're the fascists here. Yeah, we're exactly. Qasim is saying that's why we are here, to not leave China alone. Exactly.
Yeah, we consider China one of the top enemies of enlightenment. So,
and also subscribe to our newsletter, because if we get removed from all these platforms, at least we could reach out to you. And guys, by the way, if you subscribe to our newsletter, you get a free copy. Where's your copy, Susanna? Get it. We're doing promotion. You get a free. It's not even promotion. It's free. Okay, so if you subscribe to our newsletter, link in the description, you get a free copy of Why There's No God. Come on, like, I'm handing it out for free. Okay, it's a bestseller on Amazon, and you get it for free. So subscribe to our newsletter, and you get a free copy of Why There's No God sent to you. Link in the description.